Hey YouTube, it's PB. Thanks for tuning in to another Life of a Jobbing Plumber. Now, I've been to Tool Fair the last couple of days down at Sandown Park in London, trying to get signatures for my November campaign. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a campaign for the government to look at what can be done to stop people breaking into tradesmen's vans and stealing our tools. It's really important to me, and I think it will be to a lot of you guys too. So in the description to this video, I've put the link up for the petition that's live, and I'm hoping in the month of November we can get 100,000 signatures on that. Anyway, yeah, met a lot of you at Sandown Park. I was really overwhelmed, pleased that a lot of you came over to me and said that you're loving what I'm doing on YouTube. Really like the stuff I'm doing, the tips, things like that. And it always amazes me, like, I know you guys do exactly the same job as I do, and it seems to me, you know, when I first started doing this, it's crazy. Why would people want to watch me work? But it seems a lot of you love it, so I'm going to keep doing it. Thanks for all your support, thanks for all the kind words. Got a mixture of jobs this week, boiler faults, plumbing stuff. I think this one's mainly boiler things this week. And then there's a bit of, do you remember I did an accumulator vessel? Well, I did another one of those for the same landlord. This one I did a bit of pipe bending, so there's a little bit of a pipe bending kind of thing going on. And the rep actually came out to visit me on site to have a look at what I'd done, check I'd done it right. So I asked him to explain, because in the last one I tried to explain according to how I understand it, but it's always good to hear someone who actually knows what they're talking about. So he gives you a little rundown of how they work. So there's that, and yeah, just the same old really. So hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Right, so you'll recognise this job. This is the same landlord as the accumulator tank I did, I think on number 25. So he's rolling out these accumulator vessels in all his properties because they are boosting the mains water so well. So I've got a 300 litre mains boost here. Going to install it now. Now on this one I tried to talk through, rather than a video explaining how the mains boost work, this video is more about pipe bending. I just thought it was a good job, a good example to do a pipe bending video on. Now I do say in the videos while I was doing it, because I did this for Instagram, I'm not an expert pipe bender. I'm probably going to do it differently to how you've seen other people do it, how you get taught it in college, or it might be the same. I can't remember because it's a long time since I went to college. But basically, it's a little video to show you some pulled 90 bends, how I do this job basically, and hopefully you'll pick up a few tips off it. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. So just quickly, this is what I've done here. We've got a new stop tap, then we've come out, first bend and second bend there, which you can see, that's two 90s pulled together, another 90 there, and then one out through the reveal of the chimney breast, along here, another pull bend into that reveal, pull bend down, and then the two at the bottom, and then we come back up and we bend across. These are all 90s though, so I'm not going to pretend that like, this is a really difficult job. But if even something like this is daunting to you, then I'm just going to give you a really quick tip on pulling 90s. So I pull my bends by eye, but a quick tip, if this is our measurement, we know when we bend this pipe it's going to come round this former and it's going to be straight on a 90, it's going to come straight here. So common sense tells you if you just pop a piece of pipe in there and that's your centre, that's where the centre of the pipe is going to end up. So you can just do that. If you've measured to the external diameter of the pipe, we can put the line there. If you've measured to the internal, put it there, and you know when you pull this pipe round, the internal measurement is going to be there where you want it. And that's the most basic way I can break it down. Okay, so we've bent that one. Now we're going to measure the distance between there and where we want the next bend on the wall here. So we're going to measure from we'll put an elbow on there, we'll measure from the outlet of that elbow across to that line there, and then we'll pull that bend, and then I should, I think there'll probably be enough. I'll cut that and then I'll offer that in just to show you that that bit's right. Okay, so I've made my measurement, which is just there. So now I'm going to bend that same way as I did before, and then we'll offer it in. Okay, so there's our first bend, there's the second bend, and I've cut that pipe to the length that I think we can just get away with there to there. So let's pop this out. Okay, now this should go in perfectly. Let's drop it down there. Okay, so push it into these clips here, and then we'll just turn it into there. So that's in those clips there. Bends around and then lines up with that. Ready for an elbow. I'll just pop that on so I can show you. Okay. Okay, so first bend, second bend, that's the third bend now, so we'll offer that in, and then we'll take the fourth measurement using the laser level again. Okay, so that's our third bend now. You can see there on the laser level, well, you can just about see it, it's in the middle of the pipe. So then all I'm going to do now is I want to offer a piece of pipe into that, do it underneath, and then it's hard to tell from the camera, but you know, we'll work out where it wants to be, and then we'll mark on this pipe here for our next bend. So looking at it from where I'm stood, it's about there. So somewhere there. So that's the outlet of our next bend. It's quite tight, we'll just have to see if we can get it. If not, we'll have to put an elbow here. Work it out when we get on the bender. Right, this is really tight. I've only just got the locking arm on there to give us our, you can see the line there, pipe centre. So we're just about going to get away with this. So we'll see what happens. Final bend. It was quite tight to get that on. And then I've cut that, the measurement between there and the stop tap. Although we are going to be cutting this to put a T in. But we're just going to offer that in now. I'm pretty pleased with that. So you see there we've got bend in, bend out, up, across, and then we've just got a join on there with an elbow. Yeah, hope that made sense. I mean, I have been doing this a lot of years, so I've completely forgot how they taught me in college, being honest. And this is the way I've always done it. And it works for me, so if you take any tips from this, hopefully you will. If you think I've done it completely wrong, then just let me know in the comments. Because as I've said in the past, I'm not an expert. I just do what I do. So that's it.
James Jonas from Stuart Turner, mains boost specification manager. Just to give you an idea how this mains boost system works. Water comes in from the main through a strainer, pressure gauge here into a pressure reducing valve, and a check valve here so the pre-charged water does not go back into the main. The vessel is pre-charged with compressed air. There's a diaphragm at the bottom there. The mains pressure of the water coming in then pushes up the diaphragm against compressed air. When taps are opened, then the water is then forced back down through the outlets, so you get increased flow. Okay, so this is without the mains boost connected and working. We're now getting around 6 litres a minute. Pete's now going to switch on the mains boost system by Stuart Turner. We're now getting approximately 17 litres a minute with the mains boost connected, which is quite some difference, as you can see.
can't remember if I've put this on YouTube before, but this is my Nerad Tools Versa funnel, and it's a piece of rubber and you can mould it into different shapes, and it's a really handy tool to have in your kit bag. You can use it on radiators, boilers, anything where you need to divert water from a hard to get to spot away from other things. I've seen guys roll them up and stick their wet vac on the end. You know, as far as your imagination goes, you can use this for. So for instance here, I think I showed this job before, on a drain cock on a boiler. If you can't get into it to get a hose on or whatever, you can just divert the water away from any electrical components. Rolls up into your kit bag, folds flat. Yeah, it's a great bit of kit. I think they sell them in Plumb Centre. I think they stock them there, or just search online. Hey guys, PB. So I've been called out to this boiler, and it had a fault on it. They had no heating and no hot water, and I was due to come around yesterday, but when I got here the girl had been ill and had the day off work, and she'd left the key in the door, so I couldn't get in. So I'm back again today. Now, in between it not working and me getting here today, they've said they can smell gas, and when I've got here, and no one told me this until I've just rang up the letting agency, because when I got here the gas was isolated. So one, I'm thinking, who's done that and why have they done that? Has it a gas engineer? Is the problem with it, you know? So I've rang the agency up and they said no, the tenant could smell gas yesterday, so they've turned it off. Okay, so I've turned it back on, and straight away I can hear gas. Just going to put you close here. You can probably hear that. So my initial thought was, it's that nut there, washer in there, or there's a pinhole in the flex there. So I've sprayed that with my leak detector fluid, tightened the nut up, can still hear it pouring out. So watch this. It's got my leak detector sprayer on the gas valve, on the solenoid there. See all those bubbles, and they're coming through the other side as well. So we've got an actual leak on the gas valve in the solenoid. So that's gonna so basically what I will do now, I will isolate the gas, I'll cap the supply to the boiler, get a part number quote for the gas valve, but until that's repaired they're not going to be able to use that. I mean, that's crazy. The other thing is, when I got here, this part had a link cable in it, which makes me feel that this central heating flow sensor is on the blink. It's got an external expansion vessel been added. We've got, I don't know, 15mm flow and returns. I'm probably honestly going to quote for a new boiler as well, just from the state this is in. We'll see about that. Right guys, this is what I call a bread and butter job. This is something you'll do day in, day out. Swapping a motorised valve. Now sometimes you will get away with just swapping the head because it's just the motor that's gone. But if there's an issue with the valve, you'll have to swap the whole thing. Now I just wanted to talk to you about the lettering on a valve. You can see there you've got A on the left, B on the right, and then AB in the middle. So AB is the heat from the boiler. So that's your boiler flow coming into the valve, and then A goes off to the radiators, and B goes off to do the hot water. The way I remember it is B for bath. Now, fuse spurs always confuse me. Supply and load, I can never remember what does what until someone told me, shoot your load. So now I always remember what load is. So that's the same for this. A for radiators, B for bath, or B for hot water. And they'll always be labelled. So we're swapping this now. Now, what you'll find, and especially on this one, sometimes they can be an absolute pig to get to. This nut at the back was really hard to get onto, just because of things that are in the way. Now, if you are working on a cylinder, you've got to be really careful where it joins on there, especially if it's old. If you start ragging the pipe to get the old one out and disturb the joint on the cylinder, you could cause it to leak, and you're going to open up a world of problems for yourself. Another thing I wanted to mention, I always renew the nuts and olives on anything I do, if I can. Now sometimes you can, if you can't get it off, you can reuse it, and the way to check is get one of the new ones and tighten it onto the old valve. If it goes on, then you can reuse that on your new one. If it doesn't, then you can't. That's just a way of knowing before you mess around. So that one at the back, if I really couldn't get it off, if I was really struggling, I could probably reuse the old nut and olive. And then one more little tip, and this doesn't work on all of them, but on this Drayton one, to make it easy for yourself, just remove the motor. So you're not struggling with everything in your way. That just pops off. Because, like I said, you don't want to be disturbing any of the pipework if you can help it and causing yourself more problems. So that's the new valve in, filled up, wired up. We've not got any leaks on the cylinder, so we'll call that a success. This one was a bit more involved. Now, what you might find is when you go to a job like this, you'll find that someone's already replaced one in the past. And they have done this one. You can see there, they've put a connector block in. So rather than go back to the wiring centre, they've just cut the cable, took the old one out, and connected it on a connector block. Now, this Mice and Power Extra valve doesn't have an earth, but the Drayton one does. So rather than mess about with this connector block, I've stripped it all out, right back to the wiring centre, and gone into my earths there. It's just something to be aware of. Hey up guys, PB. Just having a quick play with this new digital spirit level from IMEX Lasers, and I think it's really cool. So I've not actually read the instructions, but I'm just going to go through with you a couple of things of what I've worked out so far. So you've got rubber stoppers either end. One of them is a hidden battery compartment there, so you can plug it in. It's a really well made level. It's got a nice rubber sort of handle grip there, and then there's two rare earth magnets on the base, so you can attach it to the radiator on the horizontal or the vertical. Traditional spirit bubbles, but then you've also got the digital feature. So if you turn the power on, it will give you a digital readout, and the arrows either side will tell you which way you need to go, up or down, to make it level. And you can change that to degrees, percentage, or millimeters. And then that feature again works on the vertical, and you also get the traditional bubble. And then the really cool thing is you've got a viewing window, so if you're working from the front, you can see the bubble from the front. Let me know what you think. Hi guys, it's Saturday morning. Just come to do a gas certificate now. I like a Baxi main Potterton combi like this, nice easy to work on. But the flues are push fit, so there's no screws or a collar in it. This just pushes in. So I'll just show you this flue. Oh, that's just dust there. It's just a bit dusty and dirty, but you can see there. You can see where it goes through the wall. There is some, I don't know, there's like a collar or some mastic around it, but you can see the gap there. And if we go outside, you know, it's got, there's no white showing where the collar's on there. Looks alright, it's the right way up. But because this is a push fit flue, you shouldn't be able to do this. Okay, I could pull that all the way out if I wanted to. It's got no sealant there, there's just some of the rock wool and a bit of clear silicone. You can see that. So I will have to now sort that out. Bit of take the collar off, put some sand and cement around, mortar it up, and have a look at the inside as well, what we can do there. But even though this, well, not the lesson, but what I'm trying to get to you is, even though it looks good, you still got to check it, because you don't know what's behind. Yeah. Those of you that follow me on Instagram will know that when I go to a tool fair, I'll have a look round. Anything that I think is a good tool, a new tool, something I've not seen before, something I think other people will want to see, I film it and I put it on my Instagram page. And obviously I was there getting signatures for November, but I did have a quick look round, and I found, now I've seen someone using something like this once, and I completely forgot about it. But I came across these things called stealth mounts. Now, it's something that we don't need. You've probably survived your whole life without them, but they are really, really cool. It's basically a little clip. You buy them in packs of 5, I think, for about 15-20 quid. And they're made for all manufacturers of cordless tools, batteries, different manufacturers, different makes. And you can screw them to the wall, screw them upside down, clip them on your belt, tie them to your kit bag. make a box up, screw them to the box inside the box, and it's basically a place to store your batteries, and they're colour coded, so you can buy black and red, stick your fully charged batteries on the black. When you've got a red battery that needs charging, stick it in the red and you know it's there, you need to charge basically. They do all different kinds of colours, so yellow for DeWalt, blue for Makita, red for Hilti. I think they're amazing, so here's a little video of them. I've ordered myself a set for my Metabo gear, but yeah, check them out. If you knew about them, they've been out 2 years, and I only really found out about them on Friday, so if you already knew, why didn't you tell me? But yeah, check them out.
Hello there, introducing Stealth Mounts. It's a storage device for cordless drill batteries. You can wall mount it, it's under surface mount it in your van, attach it to your kit bag, do as an insert. It's positive lock, won't come off unless you release it. You can use them to fix the inside of toolboxes like this Vantana system, and then you've got a nice battery box. You can use it on a piece, so you can take onto site, so you've got all your batteries with you. We do various colours, so we do black for charged ones, red for uncharged, brand specific colours, and we make it for all the manufacturers. Makita, DeWalt, Mafel, Metabo, Hitachi, all of the brands are available. As a side note, we also do a mount for a wall mount of your chargers for Makita and DeWalt.
What's up guys, it's PB. Just a really quick video to explain the sort of basic hydraulics of a Combi boiler. Now, not all Combis are the same, but a lot of them work on this principle. So this is the central heating flow switch. Basically, when there's a demand, the pump will start spinning, the diaphragm pushes a pin out and activates that micro switch. Then we've got the domestic hot water flow switch or flow sensor, which can be a turbine or a paddle. In this case, it's a magnet. So when a magnet moves, it lets the boiler know that someone's opened a tap and the boiler will fire up. And then we've got the diverter valve. This changes the direction of flow within the boiler to either go around the central heating circuit or the hot water. So on this motor head, there's a brass pin which attaches onto the diverter valve. When you call for central heating, the brass pin pushes the pin on the inside down and changes the flow of water to let it go to the radiators. And you can take off each of these component parts and check them when you're fault finding to give you an idea of where the boiler's gone wrong.